were you worried about, because at that time you were still playing, like you were still playing in the league. Were you worried about GMs and head coaches and what they were going to think? Because, it only recently got kind of accepted to do this kind of stuff, right? Like 5-10 years ago, if you started a podcast during the league, it's like, he's not a ball guy. He doesn't care about ball.
Yes.
Were you worried about all that?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
My thought was this. I had grinded in my career, and I essentially became what I was in Washington. And I'm not talking like I was some fucking Pro Bowl stud. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking relating to where I started in the league and what I had to overcome to create this reputation that I had. And then you ride the pine in Tennessee and finish out year, I think it was 6 at the time, year 6. And I was gonna say 29. Like, the awareness I had was, okay, I'm a 29-year-old undrafted white dude that didn't get any burn this year. There's going to be no tape of me playing on, like, being on film a whole lot.
Yeah.
So, and when a coach wants to bring me in, the coaches that want to bring me in, there's probably somebody on staff that has coached me before that knows about me. It's like, hey, he'd be great for the locker room, X, Y, and Z. So knowing I didn't have the pedigree and trying to be aware of the whole situation, I knew that when I was going to get picked up, I was going to be on a 90-man roster again. Yeah. And what I mean by that was the few years prior to that, I was on the 53. Yeah. Like, I had earned my stripes. You kind of knew going into it. Yeah. You kind of knew going into it. Comp, whether it's depth, starter, doesn't matter. Special teams, any of that stuff. Comp is solidified on the roster.
Yeah.
And when I knew I would have to be on a 90-man roster again, I was over that grind. Not that I didn't love ball, because I'd still love ball, but you just kind of fucking get over it, man. Yeah. It's wear and tear on your body. It's like, man, I'm gonna have to put my head down, recreate myself again, because I've low key, I didn't put together a year that I wanted to at all.
Yeah.
And when I decided to do the podcast, the question was, are you ready to potentially play yourself out of the league? Because podcasts weren't a thing then yet for active NFL players. People who inspired me, Matt, like you've already said one, McAfee, JJ Redick in basketball. There was a few guys doing it, like in other sports too. And All the Smoke, those guys on Showtime. And watching Schaub do it through UFC when he was a UFC fighter, because I love Schaub and Callan back in their the fighter and the kid days. And seeing kind of these athletes transition, I aspired to do something like that. So there's a quote out there, jump when you can afford to drown. And I felt like I was at a place where I could do that. If I played myself out of the league, fine. If I was in the way I've been able to finesse these last 3 years, I mean, that decision to do Bussin' With The Boys couldn't have worked out any better. Yeah. Remember, I was driving in the rain. I was going to do some radio show in December for the Titans. It was like, you're really going to do this podcast? And I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to do it, man. Like, I'm nervous. I'm this, I'm that. Like, I'm going to do the podcast. And he's like, I'll do it with you if you have me. And I was like, bro, that would make life so much easier. I'd love for you to be on. And then fast forward to right after the season, we had that play-in game against Indy and we lost. And Taylor and I, we were banged up at some Chinese restaurant. Great China or something like that. over off Charlotte Avenue. And we shook hands over doing the pod. He left the next couple days and left until April, 4 months where it was kind of up in the air. And I remember he was going to get on his flight. And I was like, bro, if you're doing this, I will wait. Kind of like fucking Titanic. I'll wait on you forever.
I'll wait for you.
But I was like, yo, I'll wait for you if you're truly going to do this. If not, I got to get going. Yeah. Because again, if this plays me out, I got to strike now before, if I'm done playing and it's over, like the sooner the better. And we started Bussin' With The Boys, man. We found the bus when he got back for OTAs and it's been up ever since, bro.